and I just wanted to see it be more human. I want to see what a human thinks, and what it turns into is this constant rage bait, clickbait spiral of nothingness that just, for some reason, like grabs your attention, holds you into it, but gives you nothing of value. So you're just getting nothing. You're getting brain rot. One of the problems with AI is that it has no sense of accountability. It has no sense of, if I get this wrong, I'm going to lose my job. That kind of thing.
Yeah, let's actually start with something that I've learned after a session with Ross. I'll start with this, and then we can maybe go from there. So it appears that it says on Forbes, on one of the articles, like 71% of images are on social media are AI generated. I did kind of went into researching if this is true, or where the information is coming from. The fun part about this specific information is that it came from a tool, or rather a platform, that is generating images, stuff for social media, and they are saying our industry is responsible for 71% of AI generated images, or something like that. I don't want to paraphrase and end up in a legal issue, but something like that was said. And to this article, a guy from author on the Forbes article was linking back to this one, to the initial one, and the initial one was looping back the links to the Forbes. So I don't know. I have no idea what the actual number is, but I'm like looking every day through different social media. I would say that they are not far off. It's like it looks like that. So that's one number. Let's say around like 2/3 maybe of the content is like of images or social media are AI generated. And then it says some platforms, and now this is like mixture. I said some platforms because it's not really clear which ones, and it differs from one source to another. But it says 45% of users on different social media are bots.
45%?
45% on some. So I'm guessing there's Twitter and those big ones that are really responsible for political messages. I'm guessing those are the ones who actually attract that kind of activity. Then 50% of text that is over 100 words are AI generated. So I mean, like that thing in. Over 50%, 54% of internet traffic are not human, and 30% of those are malicious.
Yes. Yeah, that tracks with what I've heard. I've heard 56 to 60% of all internet traffic is bots, and
I mean, the context is important, right? So it's not the bandwidth. It's not 50 whatever percent of bandwidth is bots. So that would be crazy, because right now, as you and I are talking, we're generating probably enough bandwidth for all the bots ever. But the quantity of like HTTP requests and similar, that thing is like over 50%, which is crazy. And
the other thing you want to factor in there is they're not all malicious bots. Like it could be search engines that are indexing,
exactly.
that type of thing. It's like
monitoring for like uptime and stuff like that. Yeah. So with these numbers, I actually wanted to open and say you're building something that's important for everyone who cares essentially what they read, what the content they ingest, and if someone watching this is aware and cares for this kind of stuff, tell me, what is the actual problem that sparked the idea in your mind to start building Chirpper?
Well, it really comes from seeing so many people complain about it. So just having a business background, it really just comes from, if there's a problem, there's a business that should be solving it. And that's what every business is really looking for is, if you're trying to start a business, one of the biggest problems you have with trying to start a business is, what problem can I solve? Because, there's just so many problems out there, and you don't know which one's going to be the most valuable, which one's going to actually lead to having a business versus a hobby or something like that. And so it really just came down to so many people complaining about it. My own experience with seeing it live, like just bots controlling a conversation that I wasn't agreeing with, or something like that. And I just wanted to see it be more human. I want to see what a human thinks, and seeing people post things from bots is like instantly turns you off to, I have no care in the world what this thing is saying. I have like, I see this comment, I know it's a bot, and I do not care what the rest of this thing says. And I really just want to know what you think as a human about something. I don't care what bots think about anything. And once I had that feeling, it was like, we got to build something new, because there's nothing stopping them on any of the current platforms.
Yeah, true. Where do you think the biggest problem is pouring in from the fact that it exists? So we need AI. It's here to stay. It's not a question whether we need it or not. We do. But where does it pour in when it comes to all the different, let's call them problem buckets, right? So is it politics? Is it just general capability of us being capable of thinking rationally? It messes up a lot of stuff. Like, what's the biggest one for you?
It's the way it amplifies everything that, for lack of a better term, is bad, because it amplifies by engaging you in something. It can tell how long your attention span was taken. And so it's just this constant optimization for how much longer can we hold your attention? How many more clicks can we get to hold your attention to this? Yeah. And what it turns into is this constant rage bait, clickbait spiral of nothingness that just, for some reason, like grabs your attention, holds you into it, but gives you nothing of value. So you're just getting nothing. You're getting brain rot. And that's what, I mean, that's why there's a term for it.
Yeah. Ross actually has this fun way of making it really sink deep when you think about this topic. It's like, so imagine before you were, as a consumer on social media, you are consuming someone else's idea. So you have an idea, it's someone else's, you have content, you learn a lot of stuff, and that's all someone else's thoughts, right? And whether that's a problem or not, that's a whole different story. But now you're actually ingesting a shit ton of content that is not even human. It's like it's generated, and in a lot of cases it doesn't really bring any type of value. It can be weaponized, socially speaking, in political purposes, for example. But you're like ingesting this enormous amount of content that is not even human. Richard didn't sit down and write something that's complete nonsense, and I'm like, oh, I agree with this nonsense. No, you created a bot that did that, and just spit out some stuff or image, or like, even music. Although I can't say that I'm really against those. Again, that's a whole different topic. And
well, music is a good thing to talk about, because it speaks to exactly what you're saying. Like, when you listen to a song that a composer wrote 1,000 years ago, whatever it might be, you're actually getting to step into their head and what they delivered 1,000 years ago through music. And you're now getting to feel what they felt, from that. Same idea with anything, any way that you pass thoughts from one human to another, is reading, music, visuals, video, whatever it might be. You're passing what's in your brain to someone else's brain and letting them experience you. And that's what we want to preserve, right? Yeah. So we want to somehow keep that human to human connection. And music is a great way to do that, of course. And we actually have a user on Chirpper who's like posting his own music
Right.
almost every day. And so it's really great. But he's doing it with AI. So he's generating a lot of his music with AI. But you can tell just by reading it that he's a human standing behind it. And that's really what we want to show in the end is we have this homepage feed, and maybe some of it is like corrected or it has some help from AI in some way, but it's the human who's standing behind it and
Yeah.
saying, "This is me, take me as I am," that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Makes sense. That's well said. That's well said. But it's definitely one huge topic that we could discuss for probably hours.
Yes.
And it definitely, I mean, for me personally, music has like really like big meaning in my life. So I do have some thoughts on how AI is changing this, whether for good or bad. But at least now we are even capable of, making our own music that we like to listen, which is good. On the other
Mhm.
hand, some other authors there might actually suffer. Well, suffer is maybe too strong a word, but if you have this one industry and now you have a player that's actually non-human and has all the advantages imaginable, it changes the space. I'm not
Oh
against
yeah.
it, but I'm just saying we need to be aware that that is happening, and it's up to us to choose what do we do with it. I'll actually send you some.
Get the human come across. I think you can make if you are putting your thoughts into what's being generated, that's the creative part of it.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that it helps you express that. That's okay to me. Like you're expressing it with a guitar. Okay, now you're expressing it with a computer. It's the same idea. You're still using a tool to do it, but and in the end, you're expressing something from yourself through that tool.
Okay, let's lean into that. You mentioned like 100 years ago, someone, or even more, someone sat
Mhm.
down and wrote an amazing piece that even today it's being played. And you get to get into the mind of this person. Like you're listening to this music, and you can almost put yourself in the state of mind of the person who actually wrote it. You can't do that with AI generated music because it
Oh, I think.
takes. I mean, well, it depends how it comes out, But
Mhm.
if someone who has like, a zero musical, not just education, but sense for the music, they can they can make music by telling AI, hey, merge these two authors and these two
Oh,
genres and make something. It's
right.
doable. And that's the wrong part of it, at least wrong the way I see it.
And I think that would be obvious to you that it was kind of this average of multiple things. I
Yeah.
think it would kind of feel like an average to you. You wouldn't really feel any realistic kind of feeling from it. Whereas like the person I've only really listened to one person who's done AI music, so I don't have a big range of
I'll
data
send
for
you
this.
some.
But
I'll send you some. They're really
when
they're really
I
good.
listen to his stuff, I can feel that this was his message that he wanted to put to sound, and it was his political thoughts, and he put it into that,
Hmm.
and it became music from his thoughts. It wasn't like an
Yeah,
averaging of a bunch of different music into one thing,
yeah,
and you can feel that if that's
yeah,
what's going on.
yeah. I'll send you an example. Oh my God, Shifty Brent. You can Google it actually. So there's an album. I heard. I didn't really go too deep into investigation how this album came up, but I think it was like a prompt that instructed the AI to, and I'm not even sure which AI,
Mhm.
um, instructed it to use lyrics from some rap songs and make it a soul version of
Okay.
those rap. It's amazing. For like a
Yeah.
week or so, that was the only thing I was listening to.
Oh, I'm gonna hear it.
But if you figured out the prompt that is capable, I mean, that is detailed enough to make AI capable of, bringing up this like amazing music, and you're not even a musician, then I see a problem with that.
Mhm.
I can definitely see value, but I don't think I can put myself in the mind of this person who composed it because nobody composed it. You know what I'm saying? It's but
Yeah,
it
maybe
it
different than my experience, I think, because because I use AI for creative endeavors quite a
Yeah.
bit, and not even music, but like I don't know, it's blurry, so you can't
Yeah.
see it. But that's like pottery that I make, and I use AI to generate kind of images of pottery that I might like to make. But it's definitely me saying,
Mhm.
this is what I want to start with. This is give me some inspiration in this factor. So I'll be like, here's Picasso, and here's Monet, and here's different artists that I want to kind of pull from
Yeah.
inspirational wise, and then give me some ideas for that.
Yeah.
And but then in the end, I'm picking the ones I like.
Yeah.
I'm actually turning them into real things. I'm making that an actual pottery piece that sits behind me like
Yeah.
that. And
Well, this,
so
that's
you
whole
can be
different. No, well, what you're saying, I love that, man. But that's like a whole completely different way and approach to actually making art, and I love that. It's still you. You didn't outsource art delivery to someone and you didn't really have anything to say about it. So,
Yeah,
uh,
it's definitely. I can see where you would get apprehensive about it, why people would think, because humans have a tendency over time to take the easiest way out, the
yeah,
laziest way they can get through anything, and it'd be very easy with AI to say, "I'm just going to be lazy and say I did all this stuff that this computer is doing." So there's definitely a risk there. It's going to
yeah,
be difficult to
yeah,
navigate, and hopefully Ross, the guy you're talking about, has some answers for us.
yeah. Well, as I said, I'll connect you guys, and I'm sure you have a lot to talk about. Um, Going back to your platform, tell me about some biggest like challenges. How far along are you? When did you start building it?
I started building it in March, and
Okay.
basically nights and weekends from there. Started promoting it last month, and we have something like 500 users now. A couple of really engaged users who post a lot of content, post a lot of posts, and comment on things. We're looking to add as many of those type of people as possible. People who are fully engaged and really love the idea of talking to other humans and getting the
Sign me
get
up.
that yeah, the get that you don't want to hear from bots, and there's not really a lot of places anymore where you're not going to be infected with bots. So so it's going well, and challenges have been like challenge have been with any social media site. The kind of the whole idea behind it is grow as fast as you can at any cost. Like get as many people in here as you can, because you got to get that network effect. You got to get all this activity. But this whole idea has been sacrifice growth for quality.
Hmm.
Sacrifice all that growth because it's an invite only. You have to be human to start, and then you have to have a human invite you to say that you're human to the next one. And that is not going to be fast. It's never going to be fast. It's never going to be like, now we got 10 billion users. It's going to be a slow, like clodding along. Maybe we add a new user here, a user here, and slowly those invites maybe ramp up. But we don't expect it to ever be fast. We don't expect it to ever be like the size of a Reddit or a Twitter or anything like that. And
Yeah.
that's been a challenge, because I want to challenge Reddit. I want to go after them because they're the people that are have bot infested networks that are spreading propaganda like crazy. Twitter the same way, and I want to go after them, but I just don't. It's impossible to get that many invite lineages things going. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So that's been the challenge for me, is like, do we go for speed? Do we go for growth? Do we bypass all that and say it's just never going to happen?
Yeah. What is the goal, by the way? So where do you see the platform in 5 years?
um, well, I set a goal for 500 users in the first year, and we're already pretty much there. So that's been 3 months. So we're good at that.
It was low bar. It was low
Yes.
bar.
Yes. So, I mean, eventually, I was thinking numbers of like 10,000 active users is what I was thinking would be like amazing, be the most amazing thing ever if I was able to build something like that. But um, if it ever became more than that, then that's just icing on the cake to me.
Where are you hosting, by the way?
Cloudflare.
So your entire app is on Cloudflare, or you're using them like as a firewall CDN only?
No, everything's on
Mm.
Cloudflare. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Domain through all the files and
Mm.
workers and everything they have. They have a nice, it's a pretty inexpensive option
Yeah.
to start. It's like, I think it's like $5 a month right now.
Yeah. Good. 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 Yeah, we use them for security layer. Like, we're hosting different stuff on different locations. Like there are front-facing like, security layer. Those. Yeah, all good things can say about Cloudflare, really.
Yeah.
But tell me, like, so the general philosophy, if I'm not mistaken, last time we spoke, you mentioned something that really stuck with me, and that's why I mentioned a few times, like the political impact that AI has. Is there, or maybe can you share with me, like, is there any philosophy that is driving your work towards whatever the goal is? And you mentioned the goal would be to be able to compete with, giants like Reddit, Twitter, whatnot. But I'm interested more in philosophy in terms of no, we will always have human interactions, we will always have human invites and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I've been cognizantly staying away from any political posts that I put on the site or anything like that. So I've been out of that, trying to stay away from that actively. Like I don't want to inject my politics or anything into this platform or kind of control the way that the conversation goes or the way the community goes in that way. So it's really up to the users that want to get engaged, the users that want to post often, the users that want to comment. They're going to control what the culture is like here. And I'm trying to stay out of that as much as possible.
No, so my question was mostly about something you mentioned on the prep call about bots being able to influence political views.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Well,
that like how important that
yeah,
is to you? That's my question.
well, it's just the same idea with everything is that it's not real and it's got agenda and money behind it.
Mm.
It's got a reason to be there that is antithetical to humans itself.
Yeah.
So, and if you are there pushing an agenda that isn't by being able to be pushed by itself, there's likely a reason for that.
Yeah.
So it's probably against whatever would have been um, pushed by itself. Like if an idea is great, then it kind of goes, hopefully it's able to spread because of its greatness. If an
Yeah.
idea is not so great, then it takes money to spread it. And that means that bots and spam propaganda outlets are going to be the ones that have that money to push it because they're going to be the ones that need to make money from that message.
Yeah. Interesting point of view. What's the AI involvement in developing this platform? How much do you rely on the AI to help you actually,
Oh, it's
ban
been
AI?
it's
By,
been
by the way,
everything.
by the way, I have to say I forgot to do this, and I'm guessing someone in the comments was saying, yeah. This is non-alcoholic beverage, so
I have a energy drink, so that's all
there you
I.
go. Mine doesn't even
But
have sugar.
I definitely use AI a lot for development, and one of the reasons was like I could tell AI to put a site up on Cloudflare like within 10 minutes I'd have a website up and be up and kind of working. And from there, once you kind of get things rolling, it's just okay, now let's do this. Now let's do that. Let's do that. And it's been conversations. I use it a lot. I use basically two computers at a time for it. I have one where I'm doing strategy, making decisions, plans, orchestrating ideas, and prioritizing the way things are going to work, making decisions about like, are we going to go in this direction of growth? Are we going to go in this direction of invite only? And making decisions like that through conversations with AI. And then from that, we build a plan and I put it off to a second computer that's actually executing that plan through AI. So I'm heavily involved in deeply using AI in many different ways.
Yeah. By the way, last time before we talked, actually, I was on the website and I registered, and I think that was the moment when you actually pushed some changes on the website when it broke. And I sent invite, and I was supposed to send you a message, and I did. So it it probably didn't go through because I don't remember actually receiving like confirmation. So I'll actually redo that again.
I actually probably have it right here. I could
You
pull up and
might,
look.
you might. I might have just missed it, but you remember. I remembered just a minute ago to mention that.
Yeah, I remember. It
Cool.
happens once in a while when you're deploying to all your changes directly to production. I have no development server or anything. I just send everything direct.
Did you maybe saw some, or I mean, typically this question would be something like, do you see people getting wrong angles of the idea that you're using Chirpper to push out? Or are they, misunderstanding what the point of the platform is? It
Everybody
happened.
I've talked to
Mhm.
like has had some type of software development background so far, so they understand
Okay,
it's like it's a tool. It
that's
helps you be
interesting.
fast.
That's interesting.
So I haven't
So
really talked to anybody who's not been um,
on the
at
tech
least
side,
somewhat involved in software development in some way, or had some idea what it was at least and how it works. But I mean, everybody understands it's a tool that you got to use it. You know, if it's going to 10x the amount of work you can get done, then it just makes a lot of sense to use it.
right? The reason why I ask is actually what you kind of just started answering right now. Your audience, or rather, like a type of users, who would you
Mhm.
say that typically is the type of user on your platform?
Um, well, they're starting to spread out a little bit. Right now, podcasters are like some of the most important ones. They post real content and come in and post new content. They have podcasts that they can promote and that kind of thing. So they're talking about that. But then we have some users that are just online all the time, like people who are talking on Twitter, they're talking on Blue Sky, they're talking on Reddit, and now they're talking on Chirpper, and they're here able to see kind of a difference in the audience that they're talking to here.
Interesting. Um, so you said you published it in March. You already have 500 users. Nice. Do you think it's early to talk about some what do you call them, like mistakes you made along the way, something you wish you could have done differently? I mean, it is just a few months now, but
Well, I mean, they get corrected like really fast. So, but
not.
there's been
I'm
huge
sorry, not necessarily technical, but I mean like approach in general, maybe even strategic.
yeah, that's what I mean. Is like when I go down a road and decide I have to change. So here's some mistakes I made, for example. Well, I wouldn't even call them mistakes, but ideas that ended up not panning out. So in the original version, like I had this whole language thing I was doing where everything was about botanical type of things. So we had seeds, we had plants. Like posts were plants, and
Okay.
invites were seeds. And so when you gave a seed to somebody, they could make a plant. And once they made a plant, it would grow into a branch. And then the branch would have a whole bunch of things. And I started creating this whole language around, the way it worked. And it was just all in my head and kind of crazy and too hard to explain, I think, in a lot of ways. So I went back, changed all that to normal nomenclature, posting, commenting. The only thing that I've retained is nests and chirps. Chirps are like comments that you leave on post, and nests are sort of like subreddits where they're like categories of posts that you can keep them in.
Nice, nice. That's fun.
Yeah. There was like a big couple of days of me going back and forth about whether to just go all in on the my own language and be creative with it, but ended up deciding that it didn't really lend itself to the end goal, which was to have more human conversations going, which we need to have normal nomenclature that people can understand quickly to make that happen. So that was my killing my creative juice on that one.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, speaking of creativity, are you one-man army or you have someone who's doing this with you?
Mainly me on the development side of things, me and AI, but then for promotions and outreach, I have a couple people helping, people that like monitor social media, looking for people that are interested in dead internet theory, people that are interested in or hating on the current social network they're on, and letting them know that there's a place where there are humans talking, and doing some outreach like that, and then hooking me up with people like you, podcasters and people who want to have content about how to make the internet a better place.
Yeah. Speaking of that theory, by the way, I like a month or two ago, maybe, I heard or I read, like, I forgot even what was it, what type of post. Someone was talking about it, and it was like, okay, so this is too doom theory, I think. I don't see it becoming not even close to real, but there seems to be quite a few doomers out there. What do you think about those theories? Do you think we're heading that direction? Or...
I'm missing what you said, a doom theory.
Yeah, the doom. Well, I mean, no, the type of theory that is doom in terms of like the prediction of where we are in the future with AI, you know.
Oh,
So dead internet, all that kind of stuff where, you know, it is doom. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I see where you're going with it, I think. And, there's kind of a few different routes that this could all take. Like, it could be where everything's centralized and there's only a few winners. Everyone else loses their job, loses their ability to post online, loses any agency over what they do. And there's a big winner. OpenAI and Anthropic control everybody everywhere all the time. So that's one way to doom that out and see that happening. But what gives me hope, I think, is what things I've seen recently, in that there's been a move towards more open source LLM or in-house LLMs, so that you can control your own data, you can control your own costs, and you can train it on a smaller set of data that's really contextual around what you actually need it for. Not everybody everywhere all the time. So that's what Anthropic has to be, because they're a service for everybody. But if you want to bring your LLM in-house, you can train it on your small subset of data and have that little bit be a great LLM for exactly what you need it to be great at. And so that gives me a little hope, because that decentralizes it. It makes it more open, and there's going to be a lot of contributors that way. It's going to be a more a safer place, because it's not going to be centralized in one place where everybody's data is going straight to OpenAI or straight to Anthropic for the centralized storing house for all info AI.
yeah. The funny thing, if you look into the hardware part of this AI story, is you're definitely right. A lot of mentioned, a lot of projects, even myself, I didn't think about it until like a month, not 2 months ago. But I started doing a lot of this stuff in-house on the open models. But so, and I'm not sure, are you working something with open models yourself or no?
I basically just played with it. That's it. Nothing.
Yeah. So the thing about it is it's definitely going in few different directions when you talk like AI in general, hardware speaking. So you'll have these OpenAI, Anthropic, everything that you mentioned. Sure. Cloud-based, trust it or not, they are there, they are powerful, they are just simply all-knowing, and you can rely on them to do whatever. And corporations will, even governments, will still, I think, stick to those. Then on the other hand, if you go into any market that sells computers or computer hardware in general, you'll see that there are more and more brands releasing laptops or desktops even with AI chips. So it's already anticipating, it's already out there, and OpenAI, and I'm not sure who else I read about, already started investing in their own hardware. So inference is already known to be costly thing, and they have to put it somewhere that it's not costing them too much, but they are not losing control over data. So
Right.
it's visible that it's going to have we're going to have three different layers of how we approach developing on AI. So it's going to be cloud-based, closed ones like Anthropic, OpenAI,
Yep.
and whoever next. Then there's going to be this middle layer, or let's go actually a lowest layer where we are financing our own servers in-house and we're hosting everything in-house, and we are developing on our own data centers. They don't have to be on-prem. Literally, they can be on the cloud if you trust it. But the point is, you will have to invest in infrastructure that is capable of juicing all this required, power to actually crunch something and do something meaningful with AI. So GPUs, GPU boxes, and what have you. And this middle layer where the big ones will try to come down and put this middle layer of AI chips into, everyone's computers, so everyone can still do a lot of stuff on their own chips, so they can be in control, which is smart. And I don't see a fourth. I think that's those three. I already see them. They're already positioning themselves. And
Yep.
the only question I think would be the matter of certification for different standards, if that's something that your organization cares for, and cybersecurity. So those two will differ. Like, which layer do you choose to develop your stuff on?
Yeah. I don't much to add to that because you're dead on. That's exactly what I see too. I see
Yeah,
this
blabbed. I blabbed too much.
frontier LLMs, Anthropic, OpenAI. Those are the frontier ones. Maybe throw Grok in there. Meta's trying to catch up to them, so you have those ones. And yeah, Meta, I think, is one that was investing in the chips that you were talking about, making their own chips.
Yeah.
So I think they were doing that. And then, then you have your smaller ones, and I see that's exactly what I see. So not really much to add to it because you're dead on with it.
I mean, cost-wise, since you'll continue developing your app, cost-wise, I'm not sure how much you're actually paying. I didn't even ask. Was it Cloud Code or OpenAI? What are you using? Cloud Code. Okay. So I tested different open models, and Meta's Llama is really capable.
Okay.
Hermes as well. So you can even use those to actually do a lot of developing as well. It can save like a bunch. I'll give you an example. I don't know how complicated your platform is, but like website development doesn't even have to rely on real life, like let's say WordPress developer. You can literally use any of these two that I tested, like Hermes and Llama. That's those two I tested. They do very good job when it comes to web development, like website development, and platforms that are not really complicated in terms of like integrations and third-party services. So they can do like amazingly good job, right? So the only thing is like, do you have enough hardware to actually run it in-house?
Well, there's basically anytime I've tried to run it in-house myself, like none of my computers would hold up for it.
Exactly, because you're using CPU probably.
Yeah, exactly. So I have like MacBooks, tried to run it on that, and they just wouldn't do the job. It was taking forever. And even with the frontier networks, I have a lot of slowdowns, and I have to have a dedicated computer that works only on AI implementation or executing the code prompts that I give it for updating the sites. So I still have to have multiple computers enabled in order to do it, and they use a lot of processing power.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you make your own in-house rig with GPUs, you can do a lot of stuff with open models.
I haven't tried it, so I can't say, but I would hope so.
Yeah, well,
I'm going to be doing that though with some new projects I'm working on. I have some other things I'm working towards, and we're definitely going to have to be making our own in-house stuff to do it.
Yeah,
ingesting our own data.
Tell me about that. Something outside of Chirpper?
Yeah, it's like there's a AI governance tool I've been working on, totally separate from Chirpper, and just a way to. I've seen this issue where how do we make AI more trustworthy, and there's some ways around that, because one of the problems with AI is that it has no sense of accountability. It has no sense of uh, if I get this wrong, I'm going to lose my job. That kind of thing, where you just can't program that into it. So how do you simulate something like that? And I have some ideas towards that and AI governance in order to make something like that happen. And I'm going to try it out and see if anybody likes it and see where that goes.
Yeah. Well, I definitely see a use there, because we tend to forget the simple fact, regardless which tool you're using, an AI is still a tool. I have sunny side on my. It's still human signature behind every project, every delivery, every decision in the company that actually counts, and this one signature has to exist. We can't outsource responsibility. I mean, you can outsource work, but you're still accountable, right? So
100%. That's
how
what it
does
comes
that
down to.
how does that work? What's your direction?
It's same idea, human in the loop, who someone is taking responsibility for the end product once it goes out. In any code review or anything like that, it's you're there to confirm that AI did it right, that it did it the best way it should have. And right now, anyways, you have to have a human in the loop who's going to say, yeah, I'm willing to put myself on the line to say this is done right. And a computer can't put themselves on the line.
Yeah. Do you already have someone testing this approach?
No, I have a few people interested in testing it, and that's going to be kind of really the first step, is finding someone that wants to build it, be a build partner with me.
How would that work in terms of integration into one's operation, one company project?
Well, this is a totally different project, and it's like on totally pre-beta, not even in beta, like way before beta.
I know I'm putting you on a spot. We didn't even talk about this, but it's interesting to me. So if you can just share.
It's just, but the goal is to be completely transparent to the end user and work in the background, being, something that you kind of install, and then it intercepts your AI prompts, fixes them before they go out, and then sets it up so the next prompt is better, continuously improving itself. And so that your failures, the things that you end up having to take responsibility for, get fed back into it so they don't happen again.
Interesting. What constitutes as bad prompt?
Well, in the beginning, what it means is that your initial prompt doesn't match what ended up being merged at the end. So in the beginning, you came up with an idea and you had your first plan put together, but then compare that to what actually went out at the end of that, and where's the delta between those two things, and improve the initial prompt so that there's not so much delta once you get to the end.
Yeah. What you could have been prompting it from the beginning to get to the end sooner. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
That's interesting. Yeah, security-wise, there is an interesting approach by SentinelOne. They are a security XDR company, and they now have this capability of like intercepting prompts, but they're more governed in security side of the story. But
yeah, that's a big one. And a lot of businesses are worried about that right now, because once you open it up to being able to run prompts or run commands on your computer, you open up to do anything that a human could do, that thing could do now. And so that's a big security hole. And so I see why that's important, but I'm working more towards the how do we simulate accountability.
Yeah. How far along are you?
Pre-alpha.
No, I mean,
I've proven that I could intercept the prompts and change them before they go out. So I'm proving that I can be transparent and like not interrupt your workflow, which was one of the big problems that like I could do it if I could interrupt your workflow, it'd be easy. Like just be you have to do this before you can do this, and you had, this prompt has to be put into this prompt by you before it goes out. But that's a huge problem. That's like no user wants to interrupt their workflow that way, so it'd be a dead product to begin with. So I've now proven that I can intercept your prompt transparently behind the scenes, send it out with the fixed up prompt, and analyze everything at the end to see how it matches up. And so I've gotten past the proof of concept, but that's it.
Okay. Well, that's huge. Good idea, and I definitely see not necessarily empty space, but definitely a need for it. Cool.
Yeah.
Are you testing it on your own projects, or you're working with someone who's like non-biased?
Testing on right now.
Okay. Cool.
It's actually open source. Maybe I'll send you a link to it, but I don't really want to announce it to anybody.
Okay.
But I could send you a private link.
Honestly, what I'm happy to hear from you right now is as soon as it's ready for some demo, I want to do a live recorded session with actually testing this with you. So,
beautiful.
Yeah, I'm happy to share your message and your work, man. And this seems to be like a good way to do it.
Yeah, awesome. I'm in.
Cool. Well, we should probably wrap up. Is there any lesson you want to share with us in this endeavor and journey while building the platform that you learned? I know you're at the beginning, I mean, but still, there are some lessons, I'm guessing.
I mean, the lesson that I take away is, to be open to change, be open to not being hard fast to what you originally thought something should be willing to change to what it has become. Once you've started an idea, a lot of things can fall out of that idea to become something else. Be open to those things and be willing to change and explore those branches that come out into different areas. Because really, this did not start as a social media project at all. Chirpper was just how do I be able to post online without giving anyone my email? And like that's how it all started. And it became something else because that idea led to how do we prove it's human? How do we have any idea that this is a good content? And, all those questions come up. Keep exploring, and until you come up with something that piques your interest so much that you just got to work on it. And that's where I'm at right now. I just have to work on this right now because I love it so much.
Cool. That's beautiful. And I have to grab my phone for just a sec to find a book that I like to read from time to time. It's something you just reminded me of, like, don't hold to your initial ideas tightly because they might be wrong, like reiterate. And this is actually the core of this book called Think in Models. This one.
Think in Model, okay.
Yeah. Really good one. So I think, but you're already in that mindset. But anyways, it reminded me of this book, and I thought to share. Maybe if you didn't read it, just I'm sure you should. It's content. Cool, man. Cool. Good stuff. Good talk. Thanks so much for your time, man. It's much appreciated. We'll put all your details in the description below the video so people can reach out and ask for intro to access your platform. And so all the relevant data will be there. If there's anything you can share as well, just feel free to send it over to me so I can include in the description. People can find you easier. And cool stuff.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's great talking to you. Likewise. A lot of different topics there.
Yeah. See ya, man. Thanks.